Greetings, alumni. You're the alumni. My name is Benjamin Ayres. I am the Chancellor and Professor of Romance University. This is the Professor's Lounge. How many outfits does this guy have? Is it going to be a new one every time? Are we going to cycle through some old ones? I don't know. It's become a bit of a thing. Is he wearing pants? I'll never tell. This is an interesting one. I have two video questions that have come from Megan and Wendy over at Girls Gone Hallmark. So thank you so much for these. Let's start with Megan's question.
Have incredible chemistry on set with the people you work with. And what is your process? Like, you knew, like, let's talk to Santa Claus, right? You knew Kim going into that movie. So that helps, right? That you have a relationship going in, but that's not always going to be the case. Do you have a process for developing that chemistry and that rapport with your co-stars?
Okay, that's a great question. And I have touched on this before, but I will say chemistry is a hard one. There is some element to, you try not to think too much about it. I don't anyway. People always ask, you guys had great chemistry. How do you get great chemistry? I don't know. I treat every movie that I get as the fact that I'm about to make a new best friend. I get excited about the fact that I get to go out and play in the sandbox with somebody new. To me, it's play. You go out, you're solving problems, you're trying to figure it out, and you're trying to be truthful in the moment. So I approach it in a way. This is how I start it. I start by, we'll have a phone call. We try to go out for dinner. We try to hang out. We try to run lines. We try to talk about some of the things that we love about it, what might not work, try to figure out the arc. I love to talk about the process. So for me, it sort of comes naturally because I have been lucky enough to have partners that approach it the same way. And I think pretty much everybody at Hallmark does. Now, don't ask me if there's somebody I have not had chemistry with, because I don't know. You would have the answer to that. But I could say that, not in Hallmark. There have been projects that I've worked on where maybe it didn't come as naturally as it normally does. Somebody might be going through something or a hard time in their life, and they bring that with them to set, and that can hamper the experience a bit. That said, whatever happens between action and cut, you have to forget that and just be in the moment. So that's how I do it. Everybody would have, I assume, a different type of answer. Thank you very much for that question. Now, the next question is from Wendy. Wendy, fire away.
Your career spans a wide range of genres, from supernatural dramas like The Vampire Diaries to legal dramas like Family Law. How do you approach transitioning between such different roles, and is there a genre or project you'd love to explore more in the future?
Yes, that's a great question. So, Vampire Diaries. If I'm going to be doing a vampire show, then I put little teeth in and I walk around my house and I just think about vampires, and I watch and read Dracula books. That's not true. You never know the tone of the set. And I find, as far as genres go, the only thing you can do as an actor is be truthful in the moment. So if you can't think to yourself, I'm in a horror movie, or I'm in this type of movie. Unless it's comedy, then you're just playing and you're trying to squeeze and find as much comedy as you can. And if you're lucky, you get a partner that you get to just, that's why the Santa Claus worked so well. Every cast member was very funny, outside and inside that process. And we all talked about beats and little things, and everybody brought so much to their role in a way that I haven't really experienced within the Hallmark world for an ensemble that big. That's why I think it really worked. So For me, I don't really think about the genre that I'm about to do. I just think about being present in the moment and letting the director and the score. Here's the thing, the sound can easily undermine what you think you're doing. Because, and I've mentioned this on a previous lecture where I still don't know, is it a lecture or a class? Comment below. What are we going to call these? Bite-size teachings, bite-size education. You can literally be thinking about nothing and just looking. But once the camera starts to push in on you and the sound starts to swell, you're then moved, right? There is manipulation through sound and camera movement. So what I experience is going to be a lot different than what you as the viewer experiences. Kind of rambling all over, but I feel like you get the gist of kind of what I'm saying. So all I can do and all an actor can do is bring their truth to that moment between action and cut. And if you're lucky enough to have a director that knows exactly what they want, you will bring something in, present that, and it's either on track with what the director has in mind, or they will say, well, here's a completely different direction. And we talked about this on your podcast, Girls Gone Hallmark, that I have seen actors. So the way the process works now to book an audition or even to send an audition in, it used to be you'd go to see a casting director, you'd go into an office, you'd have everything prepared, you would do it in front of the casting director. If you were lucky, a director or a producer was in the room. And if you nailed the scene, they would say, that was great, try it again, and then they would give direction. That meant that you did it well, because now they want to see if you can take direction. If you do it exactly the same way after they've given you a specific note to play it differently, then they know on the day that it's difficult to direct you and you might not be the right actor for this type of role. Because what you want to do is present, if the director wants that, a few different versions for them to figure it out in the edit. The way it works now is you just self-tape like this, and then you just send it in, and they choose it from many tapes of actors that have sent in their, what's the word? Just their tapes, their interpretation of the scene. But you can't ask them to redo it and send it back in time. So I have been on set with a day player, let's say actors that have smaller roles, and they don't have a lot of experience in front of the camera or on set, and they memorize it in a way that they can't get out of the rhythm of that. So all of a sudden they arrive to set and we have to shoot it in a different way than they had planned in their mind. And now they almost can't say their lines because they've locked their lines in a certain way. And when that happens, we tend to not show that actor on camera. You might hear them, but they don't get as much screen time because it just isn't quite working. So there are ways to protect their feelings, but also work around them. And that does happen. I would never give examples, but there are examples of that. So thank you very much for your questions. Also, it was great talking to both you ladies, and I look forward to talking to you again. This lecture, this class,